You know how we talk about the economy on this channel, and we talk about mostly property. Property is probably closest to heart to most of the people because you have to live there. A lot of people also choose to buy investment properties so they can lease it out to someone. They see it as a very good preservation of wealth, preservation of purchasing power, a good investment for the future, long term. We've heard it all. No problem. The photo, by the way, was taken today in Sydney, Australia. This was actually at St Leonard's, suburb in Sydney, which is not too far away from our place. The familiar picture, there's plenty of cranes everywhere in Australia. This is one big site. This is another, just walking along Pacific Highway. But the purpose of this video is that I want to share with you our latest video clip about what is most important in everybody's lives. Is something that really is, we talk about, you know, the prices of housing, and we say, oh, it's, some people say it's cheap, it's going to keep going up. Most people think it's expensive, but what one most important prerequisite and condition of us being able to buy either residential property for ourselves or a house to lease it out is income. So what is important with income? It's nothing so far that I've discovered that you haven't known about, but what this next report talks about is something very important, that you want to be in a profession, in a job where it's going to be impossible for them, the corporations and companies, to outsource it to you know, lesser or cheaper geographical locations. And number two, you want to be doing something that cannot be done by machines. Robots, we normally think about the production line in a car factory. Fair enough. Another thing is, let's not forget that robots and machines are computers. So they can do a lot of work and they can automate all this work. So you want to be able to get something where it's only done by humans. And if you're in some sort of, you know, first world country with English speaking country, where you'd want to be able to add value to whatever your position is within the company, where it's about creating relationships. It's something, again, that machines won't be able to do for a very, very, very long time. And number two, it'll be important that somebody understands the culture. It was really interesting that the company I work for, I work in one of those professions as an escalation manager, and the company that hired us, a few of us, wanted somebody to be on Australian soil, somebody who actually understands Western culture, Western demands, needs, and people's psyche. We deal a lot with Americans, because when we start here in Sydney, it's about 4 o'clock in New York, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's that overspill. They want us to look after mostly American customers, and then we've got Australian customers, and also European. But predominantly, they didn't outsource these jobs overseas. So well done, and keep me, yours truly, employed. But this next report also touches on that, and unfortunately shows you how 6,000 NAB, National Australia Bank, employees lost their jobs. Fair enough, 2,000 were kind of rehired in different positions, but 4,000 net is a job loss. Yeah, so for those outside of Australia, and National Australia Bank is one of the big 4 banks, NAB. So have a look.
And law firms. 6,000 retrenched NAB employees, 1 in every 5 members of the workforce, start leaving this week. The cuts were announced in November, the same day the bank revealed a $5 billion full-year profit. It's the crest of a digital wave, flooding through banks, financial institutions, accounting and law firms. As software takes over tasks and increasingly complex decision-making, it's raising questions about the future of work and how we prepare the workforce for what comes next. In the first of a 2-part series, here's Dan Ziffer.
If you're you're a knowledge worker in a white-collar job where you deal with information, strap in.
For 60% of jobs, 30% of the activities are automatable now. We're not waiting 5 years. It's happening right now.
Dominic Barton works for the world's top CEOs. In his view, automation and software that analyzes information and makes decisions will transform the business landscape, doing jobs that, until recently, required well-paid knowledge workers.
If you look in the next 5 to 7 years, the number of jobs that will be displaced driven by technology in high-paying jobs, as you said, it could be financial services, technology-related areas, and so forth, is very significant. And I don't think we're recognizing the scale and speed with which that's happening.
Peter Chung is a finance professional who knows what it's like to be algorithmed out of a job. He was retrenched by NAB 6 months ago, despite holding multiple degrees, high-end skills, and almost 30 years of experience with the bank.
I would say it reduced the size of jobs, the contents of jobs, and therefore, at the end of the day, the number of jobs available.
In November, NAB announced 6,000 jobs would go, the same day as they revealed a $5.3 billion net profit. Those workers start leaving this week, as the NAB's human resources boss told staff in an internal broadcast.
Well, NAB wants to be a bank of the future, so we want to digitise, we want to make sure we're easy to do business with for our customers, that we're the bank that people want to do business with.
Job losses are only part of the story. 6,000 go from NAB, but they'll hire 2,000 new people in the same period. Technology takes over jobs, but complements others. In the past 2 decades, the number of bank tellers has declined due to advances like automated teller machines and online banking. But the number of more highly skilled finance professionals rose by a similar amount. Speaking this month while promoting The Big Issue magazine, NAB boss Andrew Thorburn was sympathetic to his outgoing staff, but with an eye to a broader problem.
I think this is one of the big issues for Australia in the next 5 to 10 years. The new nature of work, more casual, it's, the internet is changing things. I think overall that's very good for people, but there's a huge shift in the type of work.
For the millions of Australians who work at a desk with a computer, change isn't coming, it's here. Now it's up to individuals, business and government to manage the transition to a very new economy. The banking sector has long absorbed technology to deliver services more efficiently, and the union, which supports their employees, is pragmatic about the response needed going forward. More training.
We are dealing with people. These are not individuals you can turn on and off like a light bulb. There needs to be a pipeline of training and transitions.
But the answer might not necessarily lie in the so-called STEM disciplines of science, technology, engineering and mathematics. The occupations showing the fastest growth use old-fashioned people skills.
Technology essentially automates routine, rule-based kind of tasks, but it still can't, and we don't expect that it will be able to in the medium term even, do human functions like display empathy, make somebody feel understood, help to define a really complex, fuzzy kind of problem.
Fuzzy kind of problem. I really like that lady nailed it completely. It's a fuzzy kind of problem. Computers know ones and zeros, they don't know feelings, and it'll take a very, very long time before they know feelings and empathy, and they can actually create connections, real human connections. So you want to be in a job. You might not be in a job that is one of those. You might be coming up for retrenchment or outsourced, so I would start looking at something that again can be so it's a high level customer support. It's something to distinguish you from the rest and pretty much the rest of the world. IT is not a bad place to be, because even when machines take over, or the parts of the jobs that they take over, somebody's going to have to fix them. So again, yours truly is in an IT industry. And but you don't have to be there. You can work for a National Australia Bank and be a highly paid escalations professional customer service where you're dealing with these fuzzy problems.
One of the biggest challenges is retraining an ageing working population for jobs that don't yet exist.
I get the impression that the almost thing is it's too hard to retrain people.
And there's very little training going on internally for the last 10 years.
And we're going to have to think about how we reskill, 55-year-olds. I mean, in my own, I'm trying to look at this myself. I'm 55. I'm desperately trying to keep up.
The future is coming. Whether we'll be prepared is a bigger question.
All right, that's another very good point, is that people say, oh, in the future, the IT is the future, or insert a word or phrase here, is the future. You know what, I kind of disagree with it. And the future is not coming. Future is here. We already know what it's going to be, what jobs are going to be outsourced, what jobs are going to be automated, and what jobs you really need to be in. So at the end of the day, if you have a job, hopefully making good money, you don't necessarily want to worry about where the property prices are going up. Of course, it's a big factor, same as the interest rates, but if hopefully you have loads of money, you don't care if the house is $500,000 or $1 million. Again, you do, but ideally you'll be able to afford it, unlike some other people. So, and you might be able to buy a bigger house or live in an area that you'd like to live in. So hope you find this valuable. It's a slightly different video to my normal ones, but let me know if you like it. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I have a day job, so if this YouTube gig doesn't work out, that's okay with me as well. Hey, thanks for watching. Take care.